Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I got my man with me, Tony Lewis Jr. What's up?
What's up, Joe?
You all right?
I'm great, man. Holding on, man.
Yeah.
I'm holding on with both hands.
We're both. It's a roller coaster.
That's my old way to say. I'm good. I'm good though, bro. I am, man. You know, I was telling somebody earlier today. Honestly, asked me, just kicking it, like, man, how you doing? I'm like, Slim. Personally, I'm doing amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't got a complaint in the world. Personally, as it relates to my life, but there's a lot going on around us, man.
Yeah.
All of us. And so that, has been, something that's been on, just trying to help remedy in whatever way my contribution can be to trying to figure out some solutions to, just help move the needle, bro. As you know, I ain't got to tell you, that's what we do. But so on that end, man, it's quite it's a little rocky right now. You know what I mean? But I'm good, man.
Just a follow up on that, and this is off the top of my head, just me thinking of it as you saying it right now, because I'm wondering for me how this plays out. You wake up and you're inundated with requests and things that are going on in your life or other people's lives that you're trying to help solve, right? Yeah. What's your mechanism for being able to stop and pull through all that and realize that my life is all right, my life is doing well?
You know what? I think the mess, like the problems, the things that we deal with has always sort of made me reflect on how blessed I am to not be in that situation.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's, and I often like just think about it like, dang, like, and I'm also understanding in a lot of ways like how so much of what we deal with or the things that people are dealing with that call on us. You know what I mean? Like, I just be feeling like just an immense gratitude. 'Cause I'm like, that could be me. It literally could be me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just sort of like the different dynamics of my life. Like yesterday morning, I had went and spoke in Izzy's class.
Okay.
Both fourth grade. That was really cool. I did it in second grade.
Izzy approved of that?
Izzy approved of it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah. Because I did it when she was in second grade.
But second grade different than fourth grade.
I know. It is.
It's a big difference.
What was really funny was like a lot of the other class came into her class. And there was some students that was in her class in second grade that's not in her class in fourth grade, right? And they was coming out of class though. They was like, "What's up, Mr. Lewis? Hey, Mr. Lewis. Hey, I'm like, "That y'all remember me? Like, y'all know me? You know what I'm saying?" Yeah. And when the class had a little period on activism and all that, and it was really dope, man. I was really proud, you know what I mean, and to know that I'm speaking in my baby's class, and then she asked sort of like the last question, but the question was more like, tell them about. Tell them how you felt when you used to have to go see Pop. And what was that like, for you as not only as a kid, but like as I'm like, look at her. Yeah. You know what I mean? But she was so mature and like not embarrassed. Like I think the class would, enjoy hearing that. It was one of them kind of questions. Yeah. Like, you ain't touch on this, so let me ask you that. I was like, man, look at her.
That's always refreshing to hear that the environment affords them the opportunity to feel comfortable, to learn, to ask, to receive answers, because not every school environment is like that.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that's refreshing.
For them to ask me to come back, I think it's cool, and them even just really stressing how inspired they were. And all the kids were like asking some great questions. It made me just feel good for her to be in that environment. So, shout out to her teachers. Shout out to Inspired Teaching.
Yeah.
Miss Sulfur and Mr. Thompson. But I left there and then went to Pathways. That's what I was. You know what I mean? Like and not that going to Pathways was like bad. I had a great went to there talking to them guys and talking about the things that we were talking about. it just puts everything like in perspective. But I'm also able to come to them and say, look, man, that's what I just want. That's what y'all gonna be doing at your kids, just trying to connect that, to just build that hope, and today, went down for the press conference with Robert White, Councilman Robert White. He introduced three bills or whatever today. Just something to hopefully move the needle, connect youth with mentorship, help build out the vocational opportunities for youth so they can learn in-demand skills to hopefully launch them into careers, and then some around truancy, right? And that was cool. It was a good experience, or whatever the case may be. But then I left there and I went to work, right? And when I get to work, just the dynamics of the things that I do at work, and what falls in our laps, who we serve at work. You know what I mean? And I was, it was a great day, a busy day, right? But I was thinking, I'm like, and trying to connect the dots, knowing that the people that I'm trying to help are the parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and big brothers and big sisters, big cousins of the youth that Rob just making legislation about. That I'm trying to, share my knowledge and influence on that to help. I've helped through that process with that legislation. And it's like, trying to burn the candle at both ends, if that makes sense.
It's funny you said then I went to work, but in my mind, I'm like, you were already at work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but then, just that's how it is. That's how, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's how it go for us, man. And, and then people sometimes ask us, well, how y'all able to do so much? But because it's all, it's all interconnected, man. It really is, man. You know what I'm saying, bro? And I'm just in a space though where it's like, and then something similar that happened today. Outside of all of that, trying to mitigate, mediate, and connect people that are on the same side of something but just see it differently. You expending energy though, trying to do that, trying to work together with others to bring people together. And you know what I mean? People that's not even necessarily in the lifestyle that we normally are mediating around, but yet we're still mediating, still expending energy to bring people together, man.
And it's still, in that situation or any situation when there's a call for mediation, just because people aren't potentially drawing guns on each other doesn't mean that, we talked about this many episodes ago, that, negotiation still has, there's still opportunities for people to really be volatile towards each other in other ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really to be, when you if you take that, the sort of like, it's gonna end up in gunfire out of the picture, the situations are exactly the same. Yeah. The volatility, the visceral, the aggression, the anger, but also the energy that it takes to try to bring peace, and
then
can
you
be
gotta
a lot.
come home, and if your two daughters are into it, then you gotta do that all over again.
That happened.
Yeah.
They in that joint arguing over what we gonna eat, and one of them, you sitting too close to me, and, they'll try to do your homework, but that's all in a day's work, dog. You know what I'm saying? And but I don't complain, because I know that every day, bro, we work and we live in it. It could be so much worse, and people are. But I think when we talk about sort of like the stress and the we live in a world where like people are overwhelmed, dog, and and I don't say they're cracking as like they're weak. I don't mean it that way, but people are just dealing with so much.
I mean, I read the Eddie Ellis book, right? Change is possible, and he said that toward the end of the book, that if water keeps hitting the rock over years,
come on, man,
the hardest rock, that water just keeps dropping consistently, it's gonna crack it.
You better know it.
Yeah.
You better know it. From a drop of water, bro. Yeah. Because in so many people's lives, bro, that's what it is. It's the trauma. It's so consistent. It's and I definitely try to find ways You know, and I thank God for my friends, man. You know, people like you know, man, and many others with, you know, we laugh a lot. We joke a lot, bro. That's like, that brings balance. That brings a much needed balance. And some people, you know, if they observed us from afar, you know, when we out or whatever the case may be, people could really see us sometimes like, oh, are these the same? Like, oh, these guys are unserious. No, we're very serious, but we got a sense of humor, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I exalt, I enjoy. It's imperative to have fun. You understand what I'm saying? If people only knew, you know, I talked to Booby a lot about this, or me and him, he might say, Slim, people just, they wouldn't imagine, man, you silly, we always on bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But we need that when you working in this space, or whoever it may be, you know, Trayon, Jimmy, whoever, people that smooth, we all the people that's in the work, you know what I mean? We get around, because who got time for that? We serious and working with all these major issues all the time. Yeah. And I, you know, so anyway, you know, but for anybody out there, you know, working out, any type, whatever you deem is self-care for you, spa treatments, you know, going out to dinner, you know, going to a game, whatever you do for fun, you know, that's healthy and third, like, do it, man. Create space to do it. And I know one of the things that we talked about, when we touched base earlier today, you had brought up sort of like this dynamic of like, should we apologize for that?
Right.
You know, like, should we apologize for taking time out to do something for yourself that you know ultimately is going to make you better at doing what it is that you do?
Yeah, there's not a luxury to have time dedicated to things away from work, even if in the moment that's the biggest priority. It could be something urgent that's due, or you know, just the nature of the work that you do in general. But for me, I know, like, I'm gonna get my walk in one way or the other. You know.
Hey, you know, when you first introduced me to 75 Hard, right? And so, like, getting them to work, I was in the 45-minute jump, right? And you know, typically, you know, especially that first go around, that second workout gonna come in the evening. You know what I mean? For me, I'm saying it, and probably for a lot of other people, because you just, you know, ain't free all day. You do one in the morning, probably one in the evening. But a lot of times, that evening workout is when everybody's home. You know, your family, I'm saying, right? Whatever y'all do in the evening, whether it's homework, bath time, dinner, all that stuff. But you gotta go get that. You know what I mean? And what I'm sharing that to say, what that period taught me though was just what you just said. If this is something, this was in the under the guise of 75 Hard, but the reality of it is, if it's something that's essential to you, and you being whole or you being better, you know what I mean? You have to do it. And so that sometimes might mean stepping away from those that you love. You know what I'm saying? Your wife might say, nah, but I wanted to watch this show with you. Like, all right, when I come back. She might be pissed off about that in that moment, right? I'm talking about Jessica Lewis at this time. You know what I'm saying? But but the reality of it is, after a while though, I realized she stopped. You know, okay, it became okay. Versus, why you gotta go? You know, she still might, but she understands. Like,
she probably beefing with me for bringing.
Ain't no secret, ain't no question. She know that's you. You know what I mean? It's on you. I blamed you too. Don't worry. Silas got me doing this dumb shit. But nah, I think that's what. And I know we kind of talked about this a bit here before, but what I'm saying is, for people out there, you know what I mean, it may be people around you at the time, whatever it is that you got to do or you feel like you need to do for you, it may take them a while to adjust to that. Still do it though. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately it makes you better for them, to them. You know what I'm saying? That's how people got to view that, man. we gotta be able to. I know now we in this space of wellness, and you know these things are more people are more amenable to them. I think, right, whatever it may be. And no, the world don't stop to and wait for us to kind of like get okay, right? Not in that way anyway.
Right.
But I think it is worth establishing space. You can be flexible with that space or that the time when you do it, but you need to make time for that, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. I listening to you talk about that particular thing around fitness and building that in, but then also in combination with like what happened throughout your day today, and you talked about being at the press conference for Councilmember Robert White and the bills that he introduced, and it feels like those bills are aimed at trying to bring the next generation up and support them.
100%.
You know, like it feels like that's where he is with those particular bills, given the backdrop of what we talked about last week, the crime bill and all the punitive things that they're gonna be faced with. This feels like some opportunity, right? And
Right.
you know, all of what we're talking about is being successful. One thing that stood out to me is the bill about mentorship,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it causes me to think about, in general, the idea of mentorship and being under someone's tutelage or their leadership. And it just, I guess, for me, I'm curious to know from you, in this at this juncture of your life, what does mentorship look like for you on both ends? The potential to be mentored and the potential to be a mentor for somebody else.
Yeah, man. It's I'm definitely you know, we sort of sharing this in some for some folks. We've mentored people together. You know what I mean? It's been one of the most fulfilling roles of my life to be a mentor, to be somebody that, you know, and a lot of our mentees have become our friends. You know what I mean? I think that's powerful. I mean, I guess that dynamic of being mentor-mentee will always sort of exist. We older, but a lot of them, Kenny, Ed, Fran, shit, even Delphon, Xavier, they remember, but I don't see them. They like family or friends to me.
It's funny, like I walk with Josh.
Yeah, Josh, no, you know what I'm saying?
I walk with him like once a week, and it's funny.
Shout out to Dyson boys.
Yeah, man. I
Shout
talked to
out
Noah
Noah.
on text the other day too. But you know, Josh and I get together typically at some point in the weekend. We walk, and what I've realized is now, man, it's been some times where, well, first of all, he put me on the 75 hard.
Yeah, I know. You remember
So
you
first
said
of
that
all,
on here?
yeah.
I was just gonna get to that too about
Them
that's what I
investing
meant
in
about
us.
the free. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Shoot.
but I mean now,
Kenny started you walking.
yeah.
Josh introduced you to 75. I mean,
People
the
that
young-
I'm
the
supposed to be-
youngins,
yeah,
the
they-
youngins,
yeah.
yeah. So
But I mean, I look forward to sometimes, like, he's probably a person that I talk to about my plans.
yeah,
Besides Valerie, like, he's probably the person that I really like throw things out there, and he be giving me some really solid feedback. I be looking forward to it.
yeah, dog.
You know, so it's moved from mentorship to a real relationship with a person.
I'm saying, and that's been so mentoring. Has that's what I'm saying. It's been so fulfilling. Not just because I've been able to pour into others, but they pour back into me.
Yeah.
You feel me? As far as me being mentored, right? And I think about in my life, my mentors have been guys from a certain element. You understand what I'm saying? I've always been open to being mentored by them. I grew up being mentored by whether my dad, my uncles, their friends.
Can you describe element though? Can you
coming from the underworld, a criminal lifestyle, all the men that I know, that's where they come from. participants in the criminal lifestyle, people that have been incarcerated, you know what I mean? People that live outside of the law. So those whom I never really had a mentor officially, like in the professional setting. I never had that. When I got into the professional, when I got into the professional setting, nah, that's not true. Let me take that back. In a like, you are my mentor kind of way. In the way, in a structured way, in a that's the designation. Let me say that. I've absolutely had people that I borrowed from, that I've learned from, right? In that way, mentorship, but not nothing like official, right? But when you think of people like James Berry, like Darby Clark, absolutely. Yeah. When I got the Project Empowerment, people like Alec Vincent, DeCarlo Washington, of course Charles Jones as the director. You know what I mean? I borrowed from all of them guys and others, and Big Fat Robert, Roman, but some of them too, I had like, that was more, they still was like more like Fat Rob. Before I got to Roland Lee, he was my big homie. He was their only friend who ever worked. He only handled a guy that got, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. But I knew him all my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember me. I just started calling Amin my mentor.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, but again, he another one.
Yeah.
But in that way, but he from that.
Yeah, he from that too. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? He know that he was like, again, I said my father, my uncle's dear friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Him and my uncle Greg. You see what I'm trying to say? So, but like nobody officially like, that's my youngin.
But I guess my point when I bringing that up for me was that we never had the conversation. It just began to be me introducing him as that.
And then, I mean, he definitely served as that.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to get to really in that was saying, because of the mentorship that I had coming up, where I came up, when I got around older men in the professional life, my point I was getting to, but they didn't have to say, hey, I'm your mentor. I'm already trained to learn from you.
I got you.
That's what I was trying to say, though, right? Not to discount what they did for me in my life or as a professional, but it didn't never have to get established. I'm already like, this guy. I got a respect for people that came before me based on how I was raised, and I knew that mentorship that I received growing up was what helped me survive and get to where I was. So when I got into the professional world, I'm already borrowing, whether they knowingly giving me game or when they telling me something, I'm listening because I was raised like that, and I never looked at it like I had all the answers. Even though I realized too that I was innovative. I knew how to reach people. I saw things differently, but I never discounted what they was giving me. I put it all in my toolbox. I was literally 2 days ago, remember I said I went to Wands? I was literally just talking about my experience. Me, Duck and we were just talking about our experience as junior roving leaders, how we learn how to do outreach work. We learned, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we watched, we listened. So I was conditioned to listen to those that came before me, right? That's how you avoid the pitfalls. Now, did somebody grab me and say, man, you my mentee? No, that's all I was trying to say. But I absolutely learned from those before me, whether they wanted me to or not. And some of the things about mentorship and tutelage and all that, it ain't always about what somebody tell you, or sometimes it's about watching them and seeing what they do wrong.
What they show you, yeah.
You feel me? You're like, dang, okay, okay, I do that, or he did that. I ain't gonna make that mistake. But he told me, man, do this, and all of even the dudes, and I've always been a big believer. Like my Aunt Bonnie, her husband, his name was Kenny, right? So if you ever hear me, my Uncle Kenny, that's her husband. You know what I mean? But God rest his soul. That's my dog, man. So Kenny used to sit. He used to tell me, man, like you can learn. Don't ever let where somebody is in their life make you determine if you listen to them or not.
There's no question.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I can tell you, growing up in my neighborhood, a lot of older guys who were strung out on drugs. I sat on that stoop and talked to them in detail about things.
Bro. I promise you.
Yeah.
That was like that's what I did, bro. Round my way in them crap Jones, like all that shit. I would just I would just listen, and I would apply. Like, I would listen to them, man. You know what I'm saying? But again, I was raised around men. I was raised around, and no matter what they was doing, whatever. But I was raised this is how you make it. You listen. You know what I'm saying? You listen to people that came before you. That's how you know. Like, that don't mean you don't go have. And I think this generation, we, like us, and after, we've got so like focused on like getting it out the mud or getting it on your own. I don't need nobody. Ain't nobody help me. A lot of people be saying that too, be welling, first of all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, dog, like, as human beings, bro, you ain't even, like, it ain't even in you to do nothing alone. Like, now I get it. I didn't done some things, you know, where you don't get a lot of help. I get that.
We took initiative.
Facts.
At some point, somebody jumps in and
that.
pushes too.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of that. You know what I mean? But none of us in this world can do the big things alone, cuz. Like, that ain't how human beings work. So I'm saying, like, and also, like, having, if you said somebody's your big homie, somebody's my mentor, somebody is who I look up to, that don't mean you ain't who you are. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That actually makes you more formidable, honestly.
Man.
You're going to last longer than the guy who got here and he ain't got nobody to lean on, nobody to bump nothing off. You know what I mean? And if you don't got no big homie or no mentor, find one. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, some people, and I'm a person too. I'm inspired by people. I ain't say people necessarily that's older or necessarily got a certain amount of money, or, you know what I mean? I'm inspired by people. Yeah. I'm inspired what people do. I'm inspired by how people can accomplish certain things or move other people, you know? And that could be whoever. Yeah. And I look to be inspired. I look to, like, damn, that's all right. You know, I saw, like, the other day, I saw, and it wasn't even nothing, like, real, like, deep. But Dr. Wes Bellamy, shout out to Wes, man.
So, yeah, indeed.
It's my dog. He had posted something, bro, and I just like, man, bro, be working.
Bro. Be working, yeah.
I've just got to get this. Like, I be like, man, bro, be really working.
Let me
man.
say something about him specifically. So, two things. One, we got to get him on here. We've been trying to get that to happen, but it kind of fell through.
Yeah.
But we're going to get him on here. That's one. Number two, kind of connecting this to what you said a few moments ago, but with him in particular, credibility is important, right? So he don't even know this.
Yeah.
He put a post up months ago, almost a year ago, like he was doing a 200 crunches, 100 push-up challenge. I've been doing them Jones every day since he put that post up.
Yeah, see?
He don't even know that, though.
Facts.
But it was because he did it.
Yeah.
He posted it. I know how serious he is about everything. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I could do that too, right? And to your point, I didn't see whatever post you talking about, but I've had that same thing about him. Like, man, he be working.
Right. And I certain people, you know what I mean? That's just, you know, and like we be all day talking about different people, but like that I see, whether it's on Instagram or just we see in real life all the time, you know, that I see that's always like working, you know, always doing something. You feel me? I value that, you know, and it's like, as it relates to mentorship, I just want people to kind of understand that you should try to find people that can serve in that role. And I'm often looking for, you know, I think at this point in our life too, ego can be something too, bro. You know what I mean?
A lot of times, yeah.
Ego can be something. And you know, I think I've made myself amenable to conversations with younger guys, or we share information all the time, because people didn't necessarily do that enough, I feel, with me when I was coming up. Could be for a multitude of reasons, but I think also men can be threatened by younger men sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I feel like women a lot of times are much more, in my experience, much more likely to like really say, "Hey, boy, come here. You need to know this." You like really, you need like people like in my life, people like Edie Whittington. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bridget Robinson James, and just different women that have been in my life, professionally. You know what I'm saying? Whether they my boss or not is irrelevant. They see something in you as a younger man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes men, and I think older men sometimes had a thing like, man, you got to get it. I talk to him. He's gonna wait. He gonna have to do a little more before I pull him. We do that, and
that's their generation. Them men in their 60s and 70s, that's their generation.
Yeah,
I think that's unique to them.
Nah, facts. It is though, because for real, first of all, a lot of them went into stuff that the generation before them couldn't. So in a lot of ways,
a lot of them really left home.
Yeah, bro.
Went way away from home.
Sure.
And
all of the above.
Migration period was real when
really
they came
did
along.
get it out the mud,
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to grow to get that, to understand that. You know what I'm saying? But again, in my career too though, like even like coming to see Sosa and people like Jasmine Ormond, of course Cedric Hendricks, Big Jim Burry, you know what I'm saying? Just watching them guys, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Just watching them guys, and I don't know. It's not like sometimes you can be amongst people, man, and people may not know you watching them or whatever the case may be, but I'm just saying that to people, when you're around folks, man, sometimes you're going to get to people where you're going to be able to have a real, one-on-one relationship, personal relationship with them. Cool. And that's great, but you're not going to be able to do that with everybody. That still don't mean that you can't, take notes.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I think looking back at my early career, if we just talking about career mentorship or professional, I can say that I think there were some opportunities for me to be mentored at a higher level, and then maybe I mismanaged them. Not that it was negligence, it was just I didn't know the full spectrum or realm of mentorship. Mm-hmm. So speaking of Noah and Josh, Noah texted me like a week or two ago. He was about to ask someone to mentor him about a specific thing he wants to do with his career. So in preparation for him asking that guy, he had a call with me where I wrote some notes and shared a note in my iPhone with him about some things you need to ask, and then we had a follow-up call. Mm-hmm. Like, he took that amount of initiative, a prep call with me for somebody else that he about to ask to be his mentor, and we talked for like an hour.
Yeah.
And it made me think, like, man, if I had that sort of like,
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
I don't even think I'm there now.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there, bro.
Right?
I wasn't there at all.
When I worked at AARP, there was a guy who was in my age range, and he was really on like this track of like becoming like, a real high level executive at the organization.
Yeah.
And we got connected. I can't recall the details of it, but we would meet periodically. I would go to his office. We would talk, and he was amenable to anything I asked or that sort of stuff. But I think I was so enamored with his trajectory and how fast he got there that I didn't even know how to really unpack it or get him to unpack it for me.
Yeah.
And the conversations were great, but totally in my lap, totally on me, not on him at all. I couldn't really get nowhere with it because I didn't know how to move. I didn't know how to really like navigate it.
Yeah. Shit, it's crazy. Like, to that same point, like the the work world and all. Like, I'm just saying, sometimes I didn't know even, I always again appreciate it. Like, yo, okay, the OGs, man, you gotta listen. But I never was trying to go nowhere No.
I told you
Do
was
you know
trying
what-
to go to work.
You know what I'm saying?
What we doing after work?
Like, listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm.
This job stopping me from going to jail. This all my grandmother, she proud of that. Until I really came into my like, I wasn't trying to do anything
Yeah.
professionally, bruh.
I'm gonna tell you something that happened to me recently. This was like during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I was still working with Kenyon, right? And because of the social distancing and all that sort of stuff, me and John used to actually go to Kenyon's back porch and meet about specific things, right? We were having these weekly scheduled meetings on his back porch, right? It's nice outside. We would, do our work. And I will never forget, we were talking, and just randomly, Kenyon said something to me that will always stick with me. We were talking about moving forward as an office in this complicated time with COVID and trying to still respond to the people. And he was like, I want people that write well, read well, and anticipate. And this is my manager, right? Essentially, like, he's the elected official. I've worked for him.
Sure.
But he was giving me like some real personal guidance too.
Yeah.
And it stood out to me because he wasn't just talking about writing, it was communicating. He wasn't just talking about reading, he was talking about researching and like knowing what you're talking about and then anticipating like what's coming around the corner.
That's right.
We in a very like high profile space. We responding to big issues. You got to know what's around the corner. And when he said that to John and I, like, I just never forgot that. That's been like 3 or 4 years ago when he said that. And it changed my work product and everything that I do.
Yeah, not just that.
Not just
related to
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hear it. I drove through that alley to get here today where his house is.
Right,
And
right.
I thought about them conversations, right? And it just,
Yeah, man.
I'm blessed to have had those conversations by chance. But again, I don't know that we always understand, like, if there's somebody in our presence that's a little further ahead or way further ahead down the road, how do you really leverage that relationship and purposely ask them questions?
Yeah.
My aunt passed away last June. And so my mother, her siblings, it just so happened to be this way. They like 2 years apart, all of them.
Okay.
It's like 15, 16 of them, right? So my mother, her 2 older sisters, we were together like years ago. And I said something to one of my aunts, like, man, we should get a camcorder and record y'all and just talk about old stories, right? So when we went to the funeral for the other aunt that died, after that, we at this other aunt house, and she was like, well, Silas, it looked like we might not be able to do that the way you wanted to. And she was kind of joking with me about it.
Right.
But it was like, dang, I missed the opportunity to get some. So what I'm really getting at is, like, we can't continue missing these opportunities to get this wisdom from people. Because it ain't gonna always be there.
It's not, bro.
My last text with Amin was when Molly was born. And he said, the real work starts now. That's like the last thing he said to me.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people be leaving here. You just don't know.
Yeah, bro. I think it kind of scares me sometimes when I see in various capacities sort of this like, younger guys having this disdain for older guys and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
We really should be communicating with each other, bro. We're not each other's enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I see it at multiple levels. I see it, everywhere. And then with so many now with so many platforms or mediums to have these discussions, I see it in sport, and then you get everybody's opinion on like the ex person's opinion on the current. You see it in music. You know what I'm saying? You see it in the streets. Where everybody is sort of talking about the young guys. The older guys are talking about the young guys and what they don't do right, and all this and that, and we ain't do it like that, or these youngers, and then the younger guys, man, F them old dudes, and and I think that is we gotta remedy that in some way, bro, because they both we need each other, and I would hate for it to be some young dude growing up, or or you or me, and their framing is that, man, I ain't trying to hear nothing this old niggas got to say. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, you should be trying to, but I also want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have that responsibility, and for real, because we are the older guys, I think we should be leading in that. You know what I mean?
Leading in the listening?
Leading in the listening.
I got you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Leading and affirming that young man also has something to offer us. Yeah. I look for, i.e., Josh sharing the 75 hard, which, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you open to that. You ain't just, y'all on that walk, you ain't just saying, oh yeah, sure, I got everything. I'm the one who got everything to offer you in this conversation.
Yeah,
nah. You know what I'm saying? Me and Kenny be together, whatever, Ed, whatever, I'm just using them as examples. I learn stuff from them all the time.
I mean, honestly, a lot of my value has come from, I'm getting the insight from them. Yeah.
I remember, man, one day I called Ed, my mentee, right? Man, I set up this back in the Zoom joint, and I had him do like a he an HR professional.
I remember this. Yeah.
Boy, I was looking sweet.
Yeah.
My youngin' I set up this whole Zoom. He was teaching and giving link. I was asking him questions. He helped not only program participants, but staff. You know what I mean? He the big dog though. That's his expertise. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff like that. It's like, I get the value, and I want to be aligned with young guys and young women doing their thing. You know what I mean?
So right where you at, right there, is also important too, because in the mentor space, specific to the realm where the mentee might be a little rough around the edges, might be a little at risk, sometimes our generation, we're more comfortable mentoring them because we got a command on that.
Yeah.
But those young polished ones,
Yeah.
if we not there, they run circles around us.
Yeah.
So a true test of your development is, can you mentor somebody that is sharp?
Come on, man.
Can you offer something to somebody that's already sharp?
That's a fact. But I think part of that is accepting that younger person can know something that you don't.
That's
why have you you can mentor that person around the things or the elements of their life where they need it.
And you can leverage, I think, the mentee and the mentor, if they're both really dedicated to sharpening themselves, they can add credibility to one another.
Correct.
So, going back to Amin, may God rest his soul, there was a misunderstanding that he had with somebody that's way younger than him, that I was pretty much, in some regards, mentoring.
Yeah.
And when I heard about it, I stepped in. And when I told the young person, that's my mentor, that was half the battle.
Yeah, sure.
That person was like, oh, I ain't know that. If he doing that for you and you doing what you doing for me, he got to be a good guy. That was just my first encounter with him. It went wrong. They figured it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
But it was everybody's credibility in that moment that stood the test of that moment.
Correct.
I had respect for this young person. Young person had respect for me. Obviously, I got respect for my guy. My guy, like, if you think you can get in the middle of it and make it work, I'm with it too. They sat down.
Yeah.
And their relationship flourished after that.
Off. Yeah. And I want people to understand something too, man. When, like, in that dynamic too, what I honor in that example though is sort of this, like you said, this shared respect. And I think we've got, based on what we were talking about, this disdain or this disconnect between old and young, that people are also not as respectful of their shared relationships.
Mm.
And I think technology has a lot to do with it too. We're getting away from the thing that makes us human, our connection to each other. But like, if I feel like we're losing our ability to like be connected, you know, because if me and you got an issue and we got a shared person in common, how we don't think about that person?
And what that means for that person, what
Our conflict.
we'll throw it all away though. A lot of times,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But once upon a time, that person meant something. Like, man, it may not mean you may not bring the person into, but once the person steps in, just what you just described. Oh, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we really have to like recalibrate that.
I think a part of it comes down to you were getting here earlier, but we kind of pivoted a bit in the conversation. We no longer put honor and integrity as the top thing that we want to be known for and the top thing that we actually pursue. A lot of it's about material things, right? So if
And a perception that you stand for certain things,
Yeah.
you may not necessarily.
but it's not, honor is not the top thing anymore, right? I take pride in this personally. I've been in situations where I know I'm standing physically in a space and it's two people, they not going to do nothing to each other because I'm in there.
That's right. Same here.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And it's like, but it's because I'm not leading with how much money I have or don't have. I'm not leading with like what my title may be or not be. I try at least to lead with like honor and integrity and respect for everybody, regardless of, you know,
Absolutely.
where they are, what their social standing is, right? I had a situation happen recently, and it was a miscommunication, and the person thought that I was brushing them off, and I got word of it. And the person who brought the word back to me told me that they also advocated for me, like, nah, that's not him at all. And I was more offended by the fact that somebody felt bad because they thought I brushed them off. I wasn't even mad at them. Yeah. I was mad at the fact that
the situation, because you know you would never do that.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like I put that at a premium, and I don't think that we do that enough.
Man.
And so it ain't enough people that can stand in the middle and be a bridge, right? Because not enough of us have put that as the focus. I want to be a bridge instead of I'm going to be the sounding board that make you go do something crazy.
Yeah, you think that's a...
You think that's it?
Yeah, you think that's the way to be. That put a notch in your belt.
I'm often in the minority about this. Maybe it is related to the topic to some degree. And I'm comfortable being in a minority about this. Tone, if somebody say something about you, Tony Lewis, to me, if they don't say it to you, they really not trying to say it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna come back to you and be like, man, you know, such say this about you. I'm not that type of person.
Yeah. If I can gauge, if I use my discernment in that. You don't need to hear everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear everything, especially if you, like you said, either the person not gonna say it to me, or you might got, come on now, you know what I'm saying?
He's not serious.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
He would have said it to you.
Yeah.
Or she would have said it to you, whoever it is.
Yeah, right? I'm gonna use my discernment. It's certain things that or I just know certain.
Now,
people.
If they double back around and try to have a meeting with you, and you tell me, oh yes, such I met this person, then I'll be like, well, you know what, that wouldn't go nowhere with
and
that.
I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to get it like, hey, nah, like you said, the other person said to you, like, I addressed it,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Right, you know what I mean? Right. And I think sometimes too, I also would like to believe that, like, for certain people ain't gonna share but so much with me. Like, say if it's you.
Yeah.
Same. I already know they ain't say but so much. They somebody might have a disagreement or didn't understand something I did or said. They might say, "So how your man talking about that?" And you might be able to clear it up. But just like me, I might be able to clear it up. I'm sure more people probably come to you about shit than people coming to me. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't need to hear. I'm not with that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I know people, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know people, and I know my people. You know what I'm saying? So I think about, we just gotta. I was raised in a way in which, even around all the quote unquote stuff that I was raised with, like, you know, a standard of morality and manners, decorum, class. Sometimes that's the stuff people don't talk about. But that's how I was raised. And that dated back my grandparents. You know what I'm saying? That's a Hanover thing, bruh. Like, seriously, there's a certain way you carry yourself. You know what I mean? And there's certain things you just do not do. We're not saying that, you know, I'm perfect or they want. That's not about that. But there's certain things we just not gonna do.
2-part question: how do you? Cause you said in that situation that's a Hanover thing, right? Not to use Hanover as the example, but whatever institution or entity we talking about. 2-folded question: how do you keep that going? And then how did it fall apart, or how does it fall apart?
Yeah. All right. So the same, it's the same answer to both of them questions.
Okay.
It get passed down and modeled. But if the people that were supposed to pass it down and model it, if they are not there, it doesn't. It doesn't go to the next generation. And I think that's what we've seen. Because I don't believe, honestly, that's just a Hanover thing. That's how I see it, but I think it was...
It was Hanover for you.
It was Hanover for me.
Yeah, it could be church for somebody
you know what
else.
I'm saying?
It could be,
absolutely. You know, or Trinidad for somebody, Kenilworth for some... You know what I mean? But when those people who were supposed to pass it down, that's why I don't think people understand the whole... the real impacts of drug addiction and premature death and incarceration. You know what I mean? A lot of the values in the black community, and I'm not saying every black family is struck by this, but a lot of them are, especially in this city. It does not get passed down. You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't get modeled in a wide-ranging way. Everywhere you've turned, you see people conducting themselves in a certain way. So actually today, like, the youth see people conducting themselves in a certain way. It's not that way, you know? And then they carry that out. We've talked about this before. Here publicly and privately, human beings, we're wired to be naturally cooperative. That's how we live. So when people are looking, whether it's on their phone or in real life, and think about the communities where what they're seeing on the phone is what they're seeing in real life. You know what I mean?
I think right along those lines, what social platforms and what the internet has done is it's taken people who could be black sheep or misfits and giving them an ability to connect with each other, and now they've created somewhat of a part of the new norm. Right?
Yeah.
So what happens is that, and let's take a very extreme example just to kind of make it resonate. Let's take your profile of like an incel or a person who's like quote unquote anti-American, you know, got my guns, I'm susceptible or likely to do something violent like shoot up a school.
Yeah.
They now have platforms online, whereas 25 years ago, he'd be lunching, he don't come out his room.
Sure.
But he's not empowered because he can't, there's no fuel to it.
He can find his tribe now, though.
He found his tribe. Yeah. And there are a lot of different tribes that have found each other that have now, I mean, even like, all right, you'll see, in particular, like I'm speaking now about in the black community, right? I can only speak about that in this example. But like I see a lot of like anti-family rhetoric on like Twitter in particular, right? well-educated people who come from families that they don't really necessarily have a connection to anymore, right? Some of them may be practicing religions that their parents didn't practice, or vice versa, right? And you start to see like this swelling of a discussion around, like, you know, they throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, your grandmother and grandfather might have had some principles that you didn't agree with, but they weren't like totally bad people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
You hear this whole breaking generational curses thing as if like they were the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to go to that college if it wasn't for them breaking their neck for you to get there. And then all of a sudden you just disconnected because you found your tribe online. So now you at home for Thanksgiving and you're not talking to nobody in the room because you're on your phone talking to your tribe.
Yeah.
You feel me?
How about that?
Like, that's happening. And I think it's a problem.
Yeah, and like some issues, I ain't gonna say one issue, but some issues or struggles erase everything that those people did that might have,
So I think
helped you.
that has caused a fracture in passing down stuff too.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff that they told us to do, wasn't wrong.
Yeah, bro. Straight up.
Straight
up. And we obviously, this is what happens with people though. We focus in on we focus in on the bad, and I know the bad, it hurts more than the good stuff they might have passed down, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, and on that vein, and we got a culmination of all of those things that's impacting our community today. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and we gotta, I don't even want to use the term "get back to," right? Because that's a trigger for people. I want to go backwards. Maybe we gotta create new dialogue. Because this ain't it though. All this adversarial, old versus young, on no level, man. We got and we can be critical of each other, as long as the goal is being critical to the point of bringing us together. You understand what I'm saying? Not being critical for the sake of being critical, and just across the board. I always say this, man. I heard this from, I don't even remember when I first heard it, but every time I hear it, it just reaffirms how much I love this term of we're more alike than different. You know what I mean? That's age demographic. That's around race. That's around as people, bro. I don't care what. We're more alike than different, and we need to start, stop trying to figure out how we are not alike and start figuring out, what do we have in common?
You know what's funny, right? So I just read the Jason Reynolds book, Long Way Down, right?
And shout out to Jason.
Yeah,
too,
I actually ran into him one day, and he wanted to sit with us too. So
that would be a blessing.
Yeah, so we gotta make that happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So I read his book, and he a theme throughout the book is anagrams, right? Where you take a word, and all the letters in the word as you read it is one way, and then you can reshuffle the letters and it's a different word with a whole different meaning, right? And not to get too far into the book, because I want people to actually read it and like read
and dead. Is that what like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like something like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I think I was gonna do that. It's like, no, it's a simple. That don't simple.
But it's like, it's like, we all have the same elements, but when you mix us around, we just become different. But we can't forget the fact that the same elements are there. And that's what I took away from that when I read the book. It was like, dang, he did it like 4 or 5 times. Like, it was a theme of each part of the book, where those same letters were mixed around and it put up a whole different meaning when you look at a different word.
Yeah, but that's what be happening for real.
That's what be happening.
I mean, we alike, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, for young, when you see me, I want you to see you. You know what I'm saying?
And I want you to understand that, again, going back to that anagram example, that all you gotta do is shift a few things around. I got everything in me that you got in you.
I'm telling you.
And if you just shift it around a little bit, you will have a whole different definition of your life.
Yep. Your life can be something different. I mean, that's what we showing up as every day.
Yeah.
That's what we trying to say. Young, all you gotta do, man, show a little discipline, man. Stop hanging around them dudes as much. You know what I mean? Get you to, you know what I mean? Go learn that skill. You gonna be all right. You understand what I'm saying? You're gonna be all right. But if I can't, if you're not amenable, if your ears are closed off to me, you can't see that. Cause all you love, oh, you know, I'm from South, he from Northwest, you know, whatever
Yeah,
whatever you
whatever it
may
may be.
perceive, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, I only know my father. Too much father was locked up. I don't even know, whatever it could be, you know. And if I was a little man, shawty man, we ain't do no stealing cars and I ain't do nothing. You know, if I was on, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I carjacking people, like, you know, gangster for real. You know, these are all the things I hear old people, you know. Nah, we got to get past all of that because, you know, and when we did that Washingtonian piece, my dad and I,
Okay.
one of the things that I said, you know, I get to going, like, just like on here, you know what I mean? It wasn't even something I really thought about, but I was just saying how same thing that pushed my 14-year-old dad into the street, you know what I'm saying, around Hanover. It's the same thing pushing a 14-year-old to wave a gun in somebody's face and take their car. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning, again, back to that, the manifestation of that poverty, the manifestation of that trauma in that house, manifestation of not knowing your father, not having a dad around, maybe showed up in, you know, different things, but at its core, it's the same
thing.
And we fighting the same fight. We in this stuff together. You know what I'm saying? We need them, they need us. And I just want people to understand that, man. You know, stop being divisive, especially across age. You know, we cannot. We the same. And this is happening in families. You got dudes saying, you got uncles saying they can't talk to their nephew. You got parents saying they can't talk to their kids.
Me and John be going through it sometimes, so I get that.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Neff,
yeah,
man.
Neff, man. Me and Neff be going through it.
Neff. You know, and I think some of it, though, right, is just, you know, normal human behavior as well, right? It ain't never going to be, you know, kumbaya. But when those lines of communication get cut off to the next generation, from one generation to the next, bro, that's a dangerous thing.
Let me go back. I was joking about that to some degree, but you know what was the corner turning moment for me? When I had to realize that in my relationship with him, talking about my nephew now, that like he not Silas. And he was kind of screaming that to me.
Yeah, you wasn't hearing him though.
Yeah, and it was like, man, you know what? And I had to realize too, how he's showing up is him.
Yeah.
It ain't like he's showing up to do something on my behalf. He's him.
Sure.
And there's certain things I know I'm gonna say he's not gonna listen to, but if I got a window of opportunity, I gotta just rely on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he realized it's a window of opportunity for me to say some things to my uncle sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that's when we started turning the corner.
Yeah.
When I started realizing, like, you know, they often say when you give advice, you're basically talking to your younger self. Mm-hmm. He not the younger me.
Yeah.
He him.
Yeah. And
you know?
I know timing too is important, right?
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I know stuff people said to me though. You know what I'm saying? I might not understood it at the time. I wasn't trying to hear that shit, but it was still in there.
Yeah.
And when the time came, do you get my point? When the time came, I was able to go back there and grab that. Oh, that's what, you know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah, man, it's like, but that we cannot lose those relationships in our community. You know what I'm saying? In our families and in our community, we can't lose that in our culture where the younger generation is completely adverse to the generation before it. That's, to me, that's catastrophic, because the question becomes then what will they then pass down to those coming behind them? And I think a bit of what we're seeing in community, not just in DC, but across the country right now, really is sort of that. That's been a contributing factor to I think some of the madness that we've experienced. Yeah. For real, bro. That people won't have enough, they passing down some, or not passing down nothing, or they're passing down things that just is detrimental. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody just gotta be a little more patient too.
Yeah, trying to.
trying to like speedball and get them up to speed. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
You gotta work with people.
And what was crazy on that same vein, I've been seeing like just, I mean, technology just got things moving so quick. You got people that's like, I don't want to use the term like jumping the line, but like the progression, bro. You can go all the way to the front of the line, bro, like that. Somebody can, just if it was inventing an app or going viral in some way or making a song or, college players getting paid. Not saying they shouldn't. Not saying they shouldn't.
Examples of jumping the line. Yeah.
Yes. An example of getting in spaces quicker than any generation before.
That's a better way to put it.
You know what I mean? So they deserve it or would come. But also it's like if certain things happen too fast, is that sustainable? Like if you don't gain what you need to stay there.
And if you older and frustrated about that, you have to realize sustainability is not a priority for an 18-year-old.
Yeah, it's not.
So
it's not.
Yeah.
Why would it be? It wasn't for you.
It wasn't for you.
You just couldn't. You just wasn't doing what he was doing at 18.
Yeah.
That's just. But also, right? I think we always talk about evolution in a way in which we think it's like, oh, it takes humanity is evolving by the second. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about our kids, bro. Like they have evolved. That's not just them as an individual or as our children. They as humans. They are further along. You know what I'm saying? They're growing faster, teeth falling out quicker. Like human beings getting taller, running faster. Thinking they about to start having chips in their head. Like, for real, we're evolving. Where things evolve, bro. And that's something that I think whether it's our generation or generation before, we have to acknowledge that. You know what I mean? Things aren't going to be done exactly how we did them. But we got to just, again, continue to, with certain things. I mean, that's why you can look at the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, whatever, any scripture that's why that stuff has been able to remain relevant for thousands of years, because fundamentally it's about human behavior, and that don't change. Who we are as humans. I don't care what. It'll be 1,000 years from now, and you're going to have love and jealousy and hate and humor. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who we are as beings. You know what I'm saying? And I think based on that, those that came before you will always have something that you need, something to share with you. There's no question.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot to think about, because as we've been talking, just trying to make sure that I'm playing the right role in all of the relationships that I'm in, right? And I would challenge those that are watching to do the same, like really do some self-evaluation. I think we talk a lot and we start finding ourselves drifting into cliche statements. Them youngins be doing this, or them old heads be doing that. And I would just challenge people to take a look at your language, take a look at like your sort of like reflex response to things that don't look like what you do or how you do it or what you did when you were in that position. And I think the more that we challenge ourselves, right, the more we hold ourselves accountable, the more we commit ourselves to being better, right, then I think we got a better shot at influencing other people to 100%. Do better as well. So we need each other across age ranges, across gender, across social status. And the only way I think we're going to really improve is if we first commit to admitting where we fall short and then mapping out how we improve on that. So,
100%.
Yeah. Thank y'all again for watching Heart of the City. Look, man, I'm going to say this right now. I ain't even talked to you about this beforehand. We got to get to like 1,000 subscribers, man. Like in the next month or two. We got to do that. Yeah, because we
stop playing with us, though.
Hit subscribe, man.
Yeah, subscribe, like, share.
Yeah, we need that. one thing I thought about earlier, Tone, the work that we've done as individuals and in particular as a group, we've never asked anybody for anything exclusively for us.
That's real.
Right? It's always been about we asking for this for somebody else. So this time around, man, like we just asking this one time, like please engage with the page and
y'all
share.
Be calling, y'all be see as you talk about. Listen, but we need that to manifest into subscribe, like, share, comment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We trying to take these conversations way up. Going to. Yeah. So now we appreciate y'all for listening. Again, like you said, the phone calls, the texts, the conversations we have in public with people. We really appreciate it. And we're going to continue bringing these conversations to your living room. So until next time, y'all take care.
Out of the city.
Out of the city.